Hey, welcome to Right Hand Drive Guys. Today we got our special event coverage of the spring Matsuri at Ebisu Circuit in Fukushima, Japan. I'm Bobby, this is Aaron,
Yo.
and let's get into it. So when we left off with you last time, we were pretty much leaving Shizuoka Station after our travels across Japan, checking out tourist sites, and from there we headed up the highway towards Fukushima, where Ebisu is located. What'd you think about that drive?
Long drive. You know, Japan looks like this little dot on the map, but this place is pretty freaking big, and really low speed limits.
Yeah, that's
and lots
for sure.
of traffic from Golden Week. So,
Yeah, it's been busy. It's definitely been busy. So, Nagoya, Japan.
Oh yeah.
It's a huge PA where people come park. It's like a travel plaza style deal.
Yeah. You know, they got restaurants, bathrooms, giant Ferris wheel. So that's pretty cool. Japan loves their Ferris wheels, I guess.
Yeah, that's for sure. You can see Ferris wheels one after another over here. So, yeah, when we start heading up to Fukushima, that's the area in which Ebisu is in.
Yep.
And you get the most amazing view of Mount Fuji. And we stopped at a PA in another one of these PAs, which was right at the base of Mount Fuji, and got some awesome views.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was definitely awesome. So we headed on up. It was Saturday when we were driving up. That was the first day of the Matsuri. And we arrived a little later than we wanted. It was like from Shizuoka, it was a solid 5.5 hour drive. And again, low speed limits. I'm not saying I follow them, but it definitely took us quite a while.
Right. In an R34 GTR, you know, it's hard to drive the speed limit.
Yeah, it is.
Especially here.
But we later found out they have a lot of speed cameras, and just because you don't see a cop doesn't mean that he's not there. So you definitely want to be a little cautious when it comes to doing like 180K, you know, up the highway.
Right.
So we arrived at Ebisu, and it was obviously both of our first times there. Aaron was definitely more familiar with the circuit than I was.
Right. You know, I've been like watching these videos for years. You know, I know North Course, know what it looks like. You know, I know the Formula Drift course, but as far as navigating around the area, is a little bit confusing. And with all the adrenaline running, it was kind of hard to navigate, you know.
Aaron was excited, to say the least. This was definitely checking something off for him.
Oh, for sure. And if you've ever been to Ebisu, you know it's like on the side of a mountain, and parking and walking to these courses really takes a toll on you. So.
Yeah, that's for sure. I know my calves are still a little achy from that, but what I found really cool about it was that it shares space with like an animal park, and like you're literally smelling tire, you're hearing tire, but you're seeing bears, red pandas, and what was that? A raccoon dog.
Raccoon dogs.
Yeah. So they're literally, within hundreds of feet of each other. So I found that really interesting that an animal park can operate in the same space as a race course. So,
right. It's pretty wild. You know, just seeing like golf carts driving around with a monkey hanging off a guy's back driving, and just, I don't know, it's madness. It almost seems
really
like.
is. You wouldn't see it where we're from. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, but we arrived, like I said, a little late. The D1 course, which is the East course, closed up at 4, and we literally got there at like 3:50 and parked, and we couldn't find it in time. So all the boys were leaving when we're walking in, and we're like, oh, that stings.
You know, we heard them ripping, doing the trains, the final train of that course of the day. But, Matsuri goes all night. So there was definitely, they're going to meet up somewhere else at another course.
Yeah.
And that ended up being North Course.
Right.
Which, that course is amazing, and if if you've seen the videos, you walk in there and you know you're there. It's
Right.
unmistakable.
But we did get a chance to check out before heading up there. We got a chance to kind of check out the Gymkhana course and the skid course, where some guys were just kind of practicing their skids and just getting their lines right, and maybe these were some of the less experienced guys that didn't want to be out on the main courses with the guys that do this all the time.
Right. And we also got to see Minami, which RIP, they turned that into a dirt rally course now, and that's the famous course where it had the infamous jump that Daigo Saito would do in his chaser. He would jump it, ride the wall, initiate into the first turn, and unfortunately, course is no more. It's a dirt course now, but
yeah, it was pretty iconic. But like he said, it was cool to just see it in real life of what it was, just to see that outline of the course that once was. There was somebody on there ripping it in something. I wasn't quite sure because, again, we're like kind of on foot as we're not like experienced with this circuit yet. So we didn't really make it over there. But yeah, no, it was cool. We parked the GTR like pretty much in the middle. Ended up parking next to Adam LZ and his GD8 STI, which is a beautiful car. And then there was an Evo 5 sitting next to his. So that was really pretty iconic to see three of these like JDM legends like stacked next to each other at Ebisu, where you normally probably wouldn't see those three cars because it's a drift course. So at this point, we grabbed some food in the little Animal Park Cafe, and we get ready to walk up this steep hill towards the North Course.
Hoofing it, dude.
Yeah, because we're not trying to miss anything else. We already missed like a whole day of the East Course, so we're headed up, and Amber's with us, and there's three of us just like flexing the calves,
dude.
Not knowing how far this really truly is, but we're committed because we're not missing.
Right, and you can hear the cars. You can hear where they are. You just can't see them.
That's the motivation. It's like the fish on the pole in front of you, right? Like you're trying to get it. You're trying to get it, and finally we got up there, and that was a good feeling. And what I didn't realize was that you actually have to walk through a tunnel underneath in order to get up to the North Course.
Right. And the pavement at that place is super beat. There's a lot of steep inclines, and I've always heard the term Ebisu spec, as far as like suspension setup goes, and that usually means the front end's a little bit higher. And I see why now they call that Ebisu spec, because you wouldn't even be able to make it onto North Course. You wouldn't be able to make it through the tunnel if your car was slammed.
Yeah, I mean, and the tunnel is literally probably a foot wider than your vehicle on each side.
Right.
Max. So you're definitely paying attention. You're not just shooting the poop with your boy in the passenger seat, not paying, you're liable to scuff it up pretty easily. So yeah, we got up there, and that was quite the scene. There was a lot of cars up there, a lot of people. They have some cool viewing areas up on top of these low pavilions. So we headed up on one of those just to start kind of viewing the course and getting the layout.
Right at turn one.
Right at turn one. And so next time I turn around, we got Aaron over here just chatting it up with Fielding Shredder. And so who is this guy anyways?
This dude, he's been around in the scene for a really long time. I know him from like the forum days, the Zilvia days, but recently he was on the Netflix show Hyperdrive, and he was the guy with the red S14, and he got quite a bit of following off that. But I've never met him before in real life. I just wasn't part of that part of the scene. They're from Texas, the Lone Star Drift guys. And it was cool to meet him. He was just chopping it up, talking about drifting, talking about driving, talking about the course. He was asking if it was our first time there. I was like, yeah, and he was like telling us little pointers, what to check out and just how everything works there, and it was really cool, to hear that firsthand from him.
Yeah, he seemed like a pretty straight up guy, and so at this point, it's about 5:30, 5:45, and the sun is starting to go down, starting to cool off on the north course.
Party's about to start.
So at this point, we decided to, we were gonna need a little thicker clothing because it really is like windy and chilly up there. So
yeah,
we
side of
went
the mountain for real.
Yeah, so we went back down. We grabbed the GTR and we brought it up to the north course at this point on the outside just to park it so that if we needed anything else, like our calves were going to give out. If we had to walk that hill one more time, it may have ended up in divorce for me. So, no, I'm just kidding. But, no, it was tough. So, now everybody's getting warmed up. Everybody's up there ripping. And so we go over to the wall, the famous wall.
Right on the front straight. Everyone hits a big manji right there, and that's where everyone lines up. They're slamming the wall. You got all the spectators all slapping the wall, trying to get people over there.
Well, I mean, that was really mostly us. For a lot of it. Right. Generally, yeah. But we were the hype guys, for sure. We were drawing them over.
Right.
Which was a blast. And so I got my cherry popped by Savio Silva, who's a Drift HQ drifter in his 240 SX, and I was sitting there slapping the wall, and this guy, he had me tucking hard. I was shook because he almost hit me.
Oh, yeah, you about lost your phone.
Yeah, I was like, oh, my Lord, this is real. Like, they actually come at you.
Yeah.
And so from that point on, there was a little dumpster behind the wall, and I was sitting up on the dumpster with, like, a good vantage point, just, like, whipping my arm, just trying to get their attention, let them know that we're hyped for them.
Yeah.
And we want to see it.
Yeah, and it was definitely working.
Yeah, no, it was. And as I said before, you have guys like Adam LZ out there who drifts Formula Drift, a few races back home, and you got Coda the Yoda, Instagram, Randy Trung, all these guys who are U.S. guys.
Right.
These aren't even Japanese guys at all. I mean, Eot lives over there, but yeah, it's a bunch of YouTubers, but honestly, they can drift pretty good. I mean, Randy's just starting, I think. That's what I would assume, but the rest of these guys, like, they got some good lines on them, and they got nice cars too. Eot and Coda are
yeah.
I mean, they're ripping S15s. I mean, LZ and Colette got the JZX 100s, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah, they're beat, but these people have these cars over there. There's something to kind of be said about that in the first place. The fact that they're kind of storing and maintaining these cars over there to the point where they can rip a whole Matsuri.
Right.
So, and then you had Jimmy Oakes out there for the first time, and he's got some decent skills too. So for me, being the first time seeing these guys like really drift beyond like a YouTube video or so, like I was pretty impressed because I just wouldn't have expected that. I would have expected them to be a little more green on it, know. So
yeah, no, those dudes ripped.
But there was guys that don't have big YouTube channels that we maybe don't even know their names that rip 10 times harder.
Yeah, there was one guy specifically. I don't remember who. I don't know who it was at all. He was in an orange AE86 Corolla. NA, just ripper, dude. His entry speeds were insane.
Yeah, he was good.
He was whipping that thing so hard. And that guy just had amazing style, and that was really cool to watch. Probably one of my favorite guys to watch over the weekend.
And so one thing I noticed was there was more female drifters and females there, period, than I expected. I expected to be like boys' night out, and I don't mean any offense to any females out there. My expectations, I didn't really know what to expect, but I just expected a lot of men.
Right, yeah, you can't count them out.
Yeah, no, they were there, and they were putting in the laps, and they were spectating, and so that was cool to see, that it kind of opened up, to more females. And so, at this point, it's pretty hard to tear us off the wall, but it comes with a price. You don't just stand on the wall and walk away like you came. I'm talking rubber in your nose, your mouth, your ears, your hair, your
Literally
armpits,
everything.
anywhere. If air can get there, there's rubber there. Like, I could not believe how much rubber was on me.
The bill of my hat had a layer on it. I just had to wipe it off at one point. I was like, holy cow, dude. And, you know, when you are standing on the wall, if you just peek right over the wall and look down, you'll see the mountain of rubber, you know, just lining the buildup, just lining the entire wall. And you're like, oh. So that's what they're kicking up and throwing all over me.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was you know, one of those things. You pretty much follow the car. As the car goes by, you move your head with the car, and then the rubber will at least hit you in the back of the head.
Right. Yeah, you're not getting it in your eyes.
Yeah, if you look back after they pass, you're getting it, like, wafted into your face.
Oh, yeah. You need safety glasses.
Seriously, like, because once you rub your eyes and, like, break the little film, it goes in your eyes, and you're kind of freaking out, because who wants rubber in their eyes, right?
Yeah, no, it's not the best feeling in the world. I know that much.
Yeah, and so, you know, one thing I thought was interesting is you had that other YouTuber guy, Samit, there, live streaming onto Twitch, which, in my opinion, you know, regardless of his skill or his persona, in my opinion, drifting needs more of that in order to reach a bigger crowd.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying he personally can reach a big crowd, but live streaming, period. And if you can live stream, he also uses AI to switch cameras. So he has 7 cameras, and the AI controls which camera is being presented to Twitch, which is huge because there's not some production guy having to figure out which cameras to use. It's some production robot.
Right. It's some pretty cool tech.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and maybe something in the future that could help build the sport a little bit and have a bigger reach so that it's not, you know, losing that reach. But yeah, so, you know, we're watching this. You had some guys doing some reverse entries into corner 2, right? Yeah. That's what corner that was?
No, that's corner 1, first turn.
Oh, so corner 1, right? So you had some guys reverse entry into there trying to, you know, hone their skills on that type of thing, which was pretty cool for me to see, you know, because I'm like, oh, this guy's spinning out. He's screwed. No. Oh, damn, no. He whips the e-brake, jams on it, and he's gone. You know?
There's a few times that guy, Coda the Yoda, he did a couple really good ones, really good big entries. So I was really impressed with, you know, seeing that really psychs me up. It's hard not to, you know, throw my hands in the air and give it a you know what I mean? It really gets me pumped up.
Yeah, and so, you know, we were on that wall for a good majority of the time, but there was also some cool cars in the pit there. There was that S15 with the wide body.
Yeah, the Liberty Walk kit.
Yeah, and this, I did see we missed earlier in the day. That car was actually on the track drifting, which would have been really cool to see. But, you know, there was a really nice, like, chameleon-style paint job Evo out there just randomly, you know. And so there are these companies that operate at Ebisu, and you know a little more about that than me.
Yeah, like Power Vehicles is one of them. You know, they do a bunch of storage for, you know, some of the people's cars that, you know, come up for these Matsuris. Like,
right,
you know,
like LZ.
Right, like all the YouTubers, you know, they all have their cars stored with Power Vehicles and likely purchase them from them. They do a bunch of maintenance and upkeep on the cars, as well as building cars to sell. And they have some pretty nice spec stuff for sale, you know, whether you're going to export it to the States or you want to rip it at a Matsuri, they can definitely hook you up.
So they're the guys at Ebisu. If anybody listening ever wants either lessons, rentals, purchase, or no, they don't do rentals of cars anymore, right?
You have to buy the car and they'll buy it back.
Oh, okay. So
type of thing.
Yeah, it's like an exchange. So if you're ever interested, they're the guys.
Right.
And you know, Ebisu, as he said, is on a mountain. You know, you drive about 10 minutes to the closest little town, I guess, you know, and it has all your basics, everything you'd need, some
7-Eleven.
food. 7-Eleven, huge out here. We're definitely have become fans of 7-Eleven, a.k.a.
Seven and I Holdings.
Seven and I Holdings.
Whatever
it's
that
weird,
means.
yeah, but it's great. We've literally eaten many meals at 7-Eleven, and I would never eat a meal at a 7-Eleven in the United States,
right?
Ever.
And when we say 7-Elevens, it's not like the 7-Elevens we have in the state. You're not seeing the Slurpees.
No.
You're not seeing none of that.
None of the junk, really.
No, it's actually like decent hot food. I mean, yeah, it's corn dogs and fried chicken and stuff, but like
sandwiches, stuff like that. But
sushi
like,
even.
You're not getting anything that you're like balking at. You're not like, it's not like a gas station sandwich in the United States. It's like a fresh made sandwich, you know?
Right.
And so we're big fans, but so Ebisu isn't like in the middle of some big city. It's not supported by like all of these big stores or chains or a ton of Airbnbs. It's really quaint. It's really like, I don't know.
That's the only thing you're going there for.
Yeah, it's like perfect though, because it's not this huge thing, and you have to drive a little ways out of the town, and it's like in the country almost.
Yeah, 100%.
So we stayed out there for quite a while. Like I said, we had a layer of rubber, and we're just watching all these guys just slay, just like give it their all. And so we moved around a bit. Like I said, there was some pavilions you could watch from, but it was pretty windy up there. I ended up finding a home on top of the wall behind a fence, like 25 feet down from where we were slapping the wall. And I was really just searching for another vantage point, but also like maybe a place where like the dust settled prior, so like I wasn't getting it all.
Right.
And we moved around. You can go pretty much sit on corner one. Like you can literally sit. And this is what's crazy about this and blew both of our minds. The regulations are non-existent.
None.
Like,
yeah, and that's what Fielding was talking about whenever we first got there. It's what we kind of discussed a little bit. There's no flaggers. The flaggers there are volunteers.
And they just stand at the, like, kind of the entry.
Right,
and they'll just wave a flag from behind the wall to let you know that, hey, you might hit somebody up here if you don't chill out.
Right. So, if someone spins out right past turn one, no one would know. If it weren't for those volunteer flaggers that, are just there for the love of the sport.
They're not hired. They're probably getting nothing out of it besides that experience of flagging at Ebisu, right? Which we probably would have done it if they had asked us.
Yeah.
Just because, right? And, so when I'm saying that you could you can literally sit feet from the track with no barrier. No barrier, like
no one's saying anything to you.
No, like I'm expecting like somebody at some point to be like, "Hey, can you just like back off of there?"
Right.
Not a chance.
Yeah, I didn't see one course worker.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody that would get you in trouble. Like, and so that was a unique experience in itself.
Another unique experience is the trough.
Yeah, the bathroom up there, like I had never seen it. You walk in, and it's kind of set up like there would be urinals on the wall, right? There's all these little spaces with dividers, and I'm so confused. I'm like, what? Like, where is... Oh, shoot. Down on the floor, there's like a, 8-inch wide trough.
Right. Just like a little ditch, little concrete ditch.
And then on the wall is metal sheets. And the metal sheets, you pee onto those, it dribbles down into the trough, or you just pee in the trough. And
never seen anything
boom.
like that.
The female toilet...
Oh...
Same but different. It's like a hole in the ground. It looks like a urinal flipped on its back and put in the ground, kind of. And you got to squat on top of it if you're the female. And there's no poop in here. They don't want your shit, literally. Just urine and that's it. So we were pretty mind blown. We're a couple Americans over here, just like fireworks coming out of our ears over these restrooms. You know?
It's funny.
It was cool, and so. Yeah, I mean, people started kind of bouncing a little bit. A lot of the, guys that we were watching, started bouncing, and it was getting cold. Right around midnight, we decided that we could probably pack it up for the night. It had already been a super long day for us driving the 5.5 or so hours up to Fukushima. So we decided, hey, let's hit the Airbnb. And little backstory. we had always planned to do this, but I kind of had gotten too excited, and I had booked us a room at the Fuji Speedway Hotel that night, which is a beautiful Hilton hotel on Fuji Speedway with a huge museum inside of it, which we were pretty pumped to do. But once I realized it was on the same night as Matsuri and that everybody was going to be in town, I was like, nah, we can't do it. So I ended up having to book an Airbnb. It was the single only Airbnb available in the Fukushima area. So I was like, all right, let's get it. Booked it. Kind of looked at it a little bit, and it was kind of like Snoopy themed, which I guess they're like big fans here of Snoopy. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, send some pictures of my kids. They'll love it. So we drive over. We pull up. These people are waiting for us. And that was the first weird thing. We're like, wait. Like, usually you get a lockbox code. You get, something, the keypad code. No, they want to walk us through, show us every single thing in the house. So, as you can imagine, after this super long day,
smelling like rubber,
and
other things,
and farts and all kinds of stuff, right? So, we're like, all right, hey, what's up? Like, and this guy gives us a tour of the whole house that is excruciating.
Shows us how to turn all the lights on and off.
Every single light in the house. Shows us how to use every single thing in the house. And he had better English than a lot of the guys.
Oh, 100%.
But still, it was very tough. Like, to just make it through it. And, by the end, I'm definitely still being polite, but I'm kind of a lot more short. Like, yep, no, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Because it's like 12 something, at night, and I know that we have stuff to do tomorrow,
right?
And so either way, it worked out fine. He got out of there, we got to bed, and the next morning I wake up and I'm kind of getting out of bed, and I look back down on the bed. At least 17 million little pieces of rubber all over this bed, because it was so late after he gave us a tour. There was no showers. Like, nobody felt like taking a shower.
Straight up crash.
So, I did kind of feel bad, because my whole bed, and I'm sure yours and Amber's, was all just like micro balls of rubber.
All over the bathroom.
Everywhere, and the guy didn't mind. We kept everything else clean. We really didn't even use any more of the house.
Right.
But when I say Snoopy themed, you might think he had a throw pillow here, a poster, this or that.
Literally everything.
Everything was Peanuts and Snoopy themed. And I was just like, wow. Like, people really get into stuff over here. Like, when they like something, they go all in with it. They don't just half-ass anything.
No, whatever it is they're into, they are into
They're
it.
Dedicated, and
into
so
it.
Mad respect on that, because it was like, oh wow, like, these guys, like, no matter what, put their heart into it. And I feel like sometimes back at home, somebody will say they're into something, but it'll fall off pretty quickly.
Right. It doesn't consume them.
Yeah. And here it definitely consumes them. So, and luckily it had free parking. It was a little tight, but I didn't have to park the GTR, a mile down the road, and we had to walk. So, I thought that was, pretty cool all around. So yeah, Sunday morning, we really didn't have plans to go back to Ebisu. But we had to drive pretty much back by it to head back down to Tokyo, because Amber was getting on a plane later that afternoon. So we were like, hey, we missed the D1 course yesterday. Aaron wanted his famous Ebisu Gate picture.
Yep.
So we made it happen. We went back. We had 2 hours there. And, so that was cool, because I didn't have any real knowledge about the D1 course. It's the East course.
Right.
And
it's brand new. It got taken
new.
out by the landslide either last year or the year before.
Yeah.
So it was pretty new.
And you could see it. You could see where the landslide happened. You could see all of the leftover dirt in the middle of the course. So, that was cool but sad to imagine all of the work that went into kind of reconditioning this course so that people could continue to enjoy it.
Right.
And so we we were also able to hit the little store,
Right.
which was cool, but like you could tell, probably maybe since COVID, like the stock of like souvenirs and stickers and stuff, probably kind of dwindled and maybe they haven't re-upped.
Right.
But we each found something we liked.
Got some slaps.
Yep, they got a little map up there that you can put a little dot on, the traditional kind of mark where you're from. And so I put a big old dot from where we're from, and we were the only people that had ever been there. So that was pretty cool. But over at the D1 course, there was some different guys and girls that were there at the North course that we saw the night before.
Yep.
And so there was one, Japanese pro drifter that must have been there supporting.
Yeah, the legend, the man himself, Daigo Saito.
Right. And so this is, if you remember earlier in the episode, Aaron was talking about the guy that would do the jump and ride the wall.
Right.
And this is this guy, and he was an all-star, you could tell.
Yeah.
You could just tell by his swag, by the way he moved, like he was the man.
Yeah,
in
you could
Ebisu.
definitely tell he was the man.
Yeah, and so that was cool. And so we watched some runs. Some of these same guys were out there. We were watching Coda, like we were talking about. He was having a really good afternoon while we were there, and so that was exciting. Along with a lot of other guys, that were just shredding that. Like it's like a kind of S style turn that we were sitting by, and they were just like hitting it hard, and they would group up for 4, 5, 6 person train around this, and that was a sight to see for me because I mean I like drifting. I just never was super into it because there was not a single even close to an event where I was from, so my exposure was really just Japanese videos and stuff like that, maybe like D1 GP and all that. So I was really excited to see that, but we got cut short by the rain.
Yeah, it started raining, so we had to pack it up. We had to head back to Tokyo. And
anyways, so but on the way out, we stopped and we got the gate picture.
The classic
Ebisu
gate picture with the big lion's head.
Yeah, it's a big lion's head because, as we said, it does share, space with that animal park. And so, that was definitely pretty memorable. I am bummed that we missed part of that first day because I could just know, when it starts, everybody goes in like balls to the wall because
they got all that hype, all that adrenaline.
Yeah, just like you did.
The fresh car.
Yeah, except they had the car that they could sling. You were just going hype on yourself, right?
Yeah.
So imagine if you had a car, it would have been in the wall.
Oh, come on now.
I'm just kidding. That would have been me. But yeah, no, it was absolutely a great experience. From what we've heard, 10 years ago, it would have been the time of our lives. Not that it wasn't, but it would have been the time of our lives because there was a lot more native Japanese people that were drifting at that point.
Right, like, Team Burst, like all those dudes would probably been out there. Whereas now, you go out there and it is a bunch of Australians and Irish people and Americans.
Irish, yeah.
Like it's kind of like a melting pot now. Whereas back in the day, this was their time and this was their party.
Right,
but,
and so it was like, I don't know, like I would say only 25-30% Japanese people. Like
something like that, I would say.
I mean, I saw there was some, but like, I don't know. I just kept seeing white people everywhere.
Yeah.
It was like, which was cool, whatever. Like, I was there just to see drifting, like, but I would have loved to have seen the origins of it, you know? But in the reason for this is because all these cars are getting scooped up, because all of these, JZX 100s and these Sylvias are all getting scooped up, whether they're getting exported, whether they've been crashed. Regardless of the reason, now the prices are higher and the entry-level drifter has a harder time getting into it because of that.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much to pick from anymore. All the good chassis are taken or wadded up or big money. You know, and it's kind of hard to justify to spend a few million yen on a car that you're going to be smashing into walls, whereas, 10 years ago, you could definitely get in for under 1 million yen. And,
Right.
Now that's just impossible.
And so, and that's something we were speaking about privately, was just that, the drift scene in Japan is struggling because of this, because of the lack of chassis that they can come in with, and we're really hoping something can come along or whatever, so that the drift scene here can continue.
Right. That golden age can continue on, because
Yeah.
the 90s, early 2000s, that was the time to do it, because that's when everything was so cheap, so plentiful. But now it's just gone,
Gone. Yeah. And you could tell. I mean, there were people drifting stuff that was just beat to junk, and it was just simply because that's all there really
Yeah, we've
was.
all seen the pictures of the Ebisu missiles on the internet of the cars just completely smashed, the whole back end cut off, whole front end just mangled.
And we saw those.
Right.
Yeah.
But, it's got a 400 horsepower SR20 in it, and it rips. That's all that matters. They're going to put it in a wall. They don't care what it looks like. They're having fun.
And so really what we're trying to say is, if you have the opportunity to get to a Matsuri in the next couple years, you definitely want to, just because it may not last forever.
Right.
Yeah.
In that extent, it's already changing.
Yeah, and when you say sustainability, this is a great definition of that. If there's no cars, they can't sustain this culture.
Right.
And so we're definitely blessed and super happy that we were able to make it. It took some work, but I absolutely enjoyed it. We made some new connections. We met some new people, and, we made those memories that we'll definitely not forget. And we checked off another one of those bucket list items.
Right. Now, next time we go back, we got to get a car.
Gotta get a car.
Gotta get on course.
Yeah, I'll stick to the little skid pad, the newbie area. That's fine for me. But this pretty much concludes our special coverage of the spring Matsuri at Ebisu Circuit. We appreciate you listening. Make sure to follow us for all of our Japan coverage on Instagram at RHDGUYS, and you can find us on the internet, rhdguys.com. For now, peace.
See ya.